Welcome to another daily inspiration by turbomind.com. Today we are going to read about the differences between men and women, some of the major differences. This is a great book titled Why Men Don't Have a Clue and Women Always Need More Shoes by Barbara and Alan Pease. The ultimate guide to the opposite sex. I'm reading several things here. I read this book, it's very interesting. And we're getting here to the summary. Says by the year 2020 it is estimated that 25% of all women in the Western world will be permanently single. This is an unnatural situation and it's completely at odds with our basic human urge and biology. Women are now overworked, often angry and becoming increasingly lonely. So he says on the introduction, that women are becoming permanently single. And that's a major trend change. Second, women write most of the books on human relations and over 80% of the purchases are female. So it means that they are the writers and also they are usually the purchasers. But humans are infinitely complicated. Women say they want sensitive men, but they never want them to be too sensitive. Quote again from the book. So they want a sensitive man, but they don't want it too sensitive. Next, in Britain, for example, the divorce rate is now over 50% within 4 years of marriage, and if you include couples who never got around to marrying, it is reasonable to assume the real split rate of all couples is probably more likely to be 60 to 80%. That's amazing. So if you take basically all couples, the split rate is between 60 and 80%, and most of them in the first 4 years. That is an amazing statistic. Next from the book, quoting page 9, a female brain is organized for multi-tracking. She can juggle 4 or 5 balls in the air at the same time. She can run a computer program while talking on the telephone, plus listen to a second conversation behind her, all the time drinking up a cup of coffee. She can talk about several unrelated topics in the one conversation and use 5 vocal tones to change the subject or emphasize points. Men can identify only 3 of those tones. As a result, men often lose the plot when listening to a woman talk. We usually get lost when we listen to a woman talk. That's so true. But they are organized for multi-tracking. They can do several things at one time. They can listen. They can read. They can do their nails at the same time. While we men tend to be more one-track, multi-purpose or one purpose. Continuing on the book on page 12. Instead of saying, I expect this as my right, they say, quote, you never take the garbage out. You refuse to pick up your clothing. That's kind of nagging, and that's what the authors say. It really turns off a man when a woman's nag. They also said on next page, on page 14, women madly in love don't tend to nag. They are so tied up with romantic vision of their partner or busy hatching plans to make mad, passionate love in every part of the house. They never notice clothes on the floor or breakfast plates left on the table. Their partners, also in the first flashes of a relationship, are eager to do everything they can to please them too. No one needs to nag. This is the difference when they are in love, a woman that is madly in love and a woman that is not so in love. When the woman loses the love or gets out of love, she tends to nag about several and many issues during the day. Next, on page 18, the woman sitting alone in bed eventually falls to sleep alone, feeling unloved and unwanted. Constant nagging merely masks a deeper communication problem. When women learn to say directly what they mean, Men respond more readily. Women need to understand the male brain function is comparatively simple and and men can rarely guess what their wives and partners really mean beyond the actual words they utter. Once both sexes have realized this, it makes communication much simpler and removes the need for much of the nagging that takes place. So the author said that an advice to a woman is to be direct. Men are simple creatures. They want to tell them straight what they want. Sometimes women, they tend to make it complicated with conversations and not being direct. But really, if he can advise something, is being direct. Continue on page 24. Don't nag them, train them. If you find you are continually nagging someone, it shows that person has trained you to do what they want you to do. In other words, they are making the rules and you are complying. For example, let's say you are constantly asking this person to stop throwing their wet towels on the bathroom floor. It seems no matter how much you protest, this individual just keeps doing it. Consequently, you end up picking up the used towels because you don't like an untidy bathroom and you think if you don't do it, no one else will and there won't be any dry towels for anyone to use. The reality here is what the other person knows, that you will eventually pick up the towels anyway, and they have to do is put up with a little nagging from you, which is probably a small price to pay. So you have been trained by them. Here is how to reverse the situation. Allocate a clean towel to each child and adult in the house and tell them that it is their personal towel and they are to be fully responsible for it and its condition. Tell them if they leave their wet or dirty towel on the floor, you will move it because you don't like an untidy bathroom and it infringes on your rights to have a neat home. Tell them you will put the offending towel in the backyard or over their siphons, in the dog kennel, or even under their pillow. You don't mind where you put it. The choice is theirs. When you first implement this strategy, it will create lots of laughter, confusion, and protest from the offenders, but you must carry through with action or you will remain an untrained person. This was from page 25 on the book Why Men Don't Have a Clue and Why Women Always Need More Shoes. Excellent book. I highly recommend. I read it from one cover to the other and it's an excellent book, really. It says that people react and to react the way you train them, meaning that the way the other people behave is really a reflection on how you have trained them, and you are also responsible how they react. So the first thing is change your approach, try different approaches and try to train them in a different way. Eventually it will work. This has been another daily inspiration by turbomind.com. You can go to turbomind.com or register to this podcast on youtube.com. Have a prosperous and an excellent day.